All right. Welcome everyone to this webinar. This is our second webinar this year, which forms a strategic update ahead of us moving into the full-blown sort of quarterly update mode. Last week, we paid our maiden dividend as a project, and I hope the SXDT token holders were able to benefit from that in whatever degree. Today, I would like to use this opportunity to debrief you on what lies ahead a bit more in detail, especially for this quarter and then for the remainder of the year. And halfway during the webinar, I will hand it over to Hitesh and Atul, who will delve deeper into marketing and the affiliate program. Bear in mind that as our story progresses into the future, it attracts more attention. And of course, not all of that is always the most positive type. And what I mean by that is, of course, competitors are lurking. And on these calls, we need to restrict ourselves in terms of how much in depth we can go into strategy. And we trust you will appreciate that. So this webinar is recorded. It is the 3rd of May. And the time is 3:01 GMT in the afternoon. Before I proceed, please take a moment to observe the legal disclaimer in front of you, and then we'll move into the meat of the webinar. Okay, so let me tell you where we're at. It's been an exciting, I would say, 3.5, 4 months into this year. So far, I'm pleased to report that we have been delivering most, if not all, of our roadmap items in line with schedule, and in certain instances, somewhat ahead of schedule. You can see that we just finished our live beta month, where we tested the platform with 32 to 40 traders, and Hitesh will be giving more color on how that went, some more statistics and figures for those of you that are more numerically oriented. What's interesting to note here is that we're at the very beginning of our annual ramp up. It will take about a year, as communicated earlier, for the entire system, and by system I mean not only Spectre.ai but also Dapverse, to basically be revving on all engines. And so in the first quarter, we've given ourselves enough leeway. As you recall, the target is 250 active traders, or traders that have gone through the system and traded. And then in the second quarter, it goes to 500. That's after Cassette and our affiliate program goes live, which should be in July and in the middle of this month, respectively, for those two. So the affiliate program is going live in around 2 weeks. Cassette goes live ideally in early June, if not then later or closer to end of June. And that's when the real scaling up can start to begin, right? So for those of you that are new to the investment case, that haven't been here on previous webinars, this is the projected ramp up. And in total for the first year, March ended 2019, that's our financial year end. We're expecting 3,000 traders to go through the system and trade. In this first month, we had 30 to 35. We were stress testing the system, successfully weeded out quite a few errors. And again, Hitesh will give more color on that. We expect to generate somewhere in the tune of 79 to 80 million in volumes in the first year. And that would give us a smart options or digital options market share of just 0.002%. Having said that, of course, there is a certain degree of conservatism because you never know what lies ahead, but we like to build in any potential negative developments into our forecasts as well. So there are 4 phases to the expansion of this project, and with that also dividends, right? Because the beauty about this investment is that as we deliver our roadmap, and as that roadmap translates to products, and those products monetize or scale up, there's a algorithmic generation dependency, if you want to call it, to dividends, right? It's weekly payouts for SXDT token holders. And therefore, we think somewhere towards the end of this financial year, that's when the real sort of representative level of dividends will be happening on a weekly basis. There are 4 phases. There's the teething phase, which is where we're now. It's the first quarter. Then there's the expansion phase, where we've got some key technical impediments out of the way, such as fully optimizing our KYC process, which can improve further, and of course, launching cassette. Yeah. And then when we are entering Q3, that's when things really get exciting. We'll be launching smart CFDs. All our feeders will be in place. Our IB program, again, Hitesh will give some more color on this. And the white labels towards the end of Q4, which Atul will be pioneering. So that's where we are with the Spectre.ai trading platform. I want to give you a bit of an update on where we are now with Dapverse as well. There's been a lot of developments there. Notice the name itself has changed. It's no longer Dap Hub, and it is licensed in Costa Rica. Specdex, which is our own decentralized exchange, which connects to Dapverse. It's a DApp effectively, and it feeds directly into the DALP, which directly pays out to SXDT, is ongoing. We expect the first beta testing, so the same way we had stress tested Spectre.ai last month, we will be stress testing Specdex. Specdex is just a code name. This is a decentralized exchange with some interesting features that other exchanges don't have at the moment. And you'll be able to trade both SXDT and SXUT with reasonable volumes over time. Okay, we're working on some interesting features there. And very importantly, it will be in line with the quality that you have come to expect from us so far in this short period that we have been showcasing our metal to the market, and also security. Security not only from a regulatory standpoint, it's a regulated exchange, but also a transaction standpoint, the safety of funds and what have you. Terra is continuing its development. There's not much I can get into about that, but I think a lot of you may have sussed out what it's about. And obviously that is for us a transformational product, but it will take time to build. So when that is ready, we will be obviously doing a separate webinar for that. A separate team will be in place for that as well. I will show you some screenshots today. It's always better, as a picture speaks 1,000 words, of some of the dApps which are nearing completion, such as Moonfolio, such as Crypto Run, and others. What I'd like to say at this stage is that we have taken on 3 or 4 more dApps. 2 are external and 2 are internal. And one of them is Moonwire. Again, for the reason of strategic grounds, I can't get into too much what exactly that is, but you can think of it as an agglomerated free news service for all cryptocurrency traders, the few million there are around the world, purely mobile-based, not a web app, and it has some very interesting features. Today you go around, you're looking at your places where you get news in the crypto marketplace. Sometimes the news is of lower quality, of higher quality. The bottom line is you're mostly using 2 or 3 different sources. What we're trying to do is create a similar, what some of you may have heard of, Reuters Newswire. It's very, very well known in the institutional community. It's the way all listed companies communicate their developments, and developments in general in finance are communicated through Reuters Newswire or on the Bloomberg terminal. Moonwire is effectively our answer to that for crypto. So it's a more data-driven project, but very significant monetization potential based on channel checks, and of course all of that goes to the DALP as well. With crypto cases, this is very exciting. We're putting together a team of 3 developers and 2 in-house staff for this, so it's 5 men in total. And here we are basically, again, this is plugging into the DApp. We're providing liquidity to the DApp. It is penetrating a very interesting part of the gaming market. This is known as the skins market. virtual in-game items. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. But the thing is that we're not competing with other skins exchanges. That's a very important thing. We're actually reconfiguring this product that has become so popular, that has millions of gamers around the world using it, and we're decentralizing it to start with. But more importantly, we're addressing a slightly different aspect of it. Um, Very happy to answer some general questions on it. But again, this is a product which in its own right could be as big as Spectre. And the most important thing is it's actually going to be run by two very experienced gamers, and also people who have been studying competition for close to 8 years now. So they know key assets at competition as well. And so this is really sort of harnessing our multi-sector industry expertise, if you want to call it. This is not something Spectre.ai's team will be working with, but we are financing the development of it. And there is a strong overlap between cryptocurrency traders and also gamers today. The generational sort of Venn diagram, if you had to superimpose it, there's a big area of overlap. And so we did a lot of research into this over the last 2.5, 3 months. And this is going to be another significant driver of volumes to Dapverse, right? And all of these dApps that are under development, actually, I'll get to that in a minute. Let me talk first about, let me show you some exciting screenshots first. So let's start with Spectre.ai, the UI. Look, we'd be idiots to say that if you look at the current platform, that it's $1 billion product. It's not. If you log in, you'll see it kind of gets the job done. But as the head of this company, as this project, I can't firmly stand on high ground and say, well, we've done a great job. It's a job that, again, it's a platform that could compete. But what you see in front of you right now on the screen, this is potentially a transformational platform, right? Not only in terms of some extra features, which I won't go into in depth, but also it's clearly superior UI, and more importantly, competitive UI. So it's very sleek, it's very smooth, it's quicker. The platform here, you can see all the assets. You can also see where you enter the trade, where you set your pending orders. And so this is actually now being built. This isn't something which is just artwork. Today I went in and tried it myself. Unfortunately, these things take a bit of time. So we're still about 3 months away from moving to the new UI, but very excited about this. And not to sound like Donald Trump, but it's huge for the project, because it comes in multiple languages, key languages, especially various Asian languages, because that's a big growth market for us. So this is what our design team, which is based in Ukraine, is working on specifically for. There's 4 of them, basically improving the Spectre UI. We have a separate team building Dapverse, and this is a personal area of excitement for me, mainly because it's the first app store in the world that is backed by a decentralized autonomous liquidity pool that provides liquidity to all apps across genre, not just gaming, but fintech and other verticals too. It's regulated already. We have a regulatory umbrella under Costa Rica, which means in theory, if it started tomorrow, we could start accepting developers and teams and apps and start monetizing it. And most importantly, it's an open source ecosystem when it goes live. It looks visually beautiful. Here I can just show you a screenshot, but this is fully animated as well. I have shared some videos in the Telegram chat. It's mobile responsive. It's got an inbuilt community management system and a ranking system and a challenge system. So you can challenge other gamers, other users to various dApps, and you can wager money on that as well, on outcomes. So it has an inherent betting engine inside it, all backed by the DALP as well. Okay, and you'll see in front of you that Spectre.ai is just one. Obviously, it's the biggest dApp. It's the most significant dApp at the moment. It's one of potentially thousands of dApps that will be put on this store in the next 3 years. Some of you have been asking, what is Crypto Run? Can you show us more screenshots? Well, so what you see here is Dashman, named after the currency Dash, literally jumping a few 100 feet in the air, collecting coins on a track. This is level 1. This is a stadium level. It's a high octane, highly exciting uh, DALP-backed game. It's the world's first game that's backed by a decentralized autonomous liquidity pool. It has mission-based unlocks, so you can play through the levels, you know, uh, collecting as many coins as quickly as you can, single player or multiplayer eventually, and you can also bet on outcomes, right? You can bet connecting your cryptocurrency wallet on Dapverse, and if you win, you can actually, if you're good, if you're skilled, you can get paid for it, right? So this is a new take on uh, earn as you play. Obviously, the industry for gamers to earn has been pretty limited. I mean, it's big in size, but it's pretty limited in terms of application. Mainly, gamers earn today by going to tournaments, showcasing their skills, winning awards, prizes, or trading in-game merchandise, skins, and all that, right? Well, this is a new angle. And this DALP can back any game in the world. Any game that we know today can have a DALP-based mission unlock system, which allows users to earn based on how much they win. Okay. So this is Crypto Run. This is probably around 75% complete. We don't want to launch an unfinished product. We want to really refine it. It needs to look fantastic. It needs to sound fantastic. It needs to work perfect. So we look to put this out possibly by June end. We'll certainly try our best. And that becomes a revenue generator for the DALP as well. Then we've been working on something pretty interesting called Moonfolio. This is not your average blockfolio. It's not your average portfolio building app. It's much more than that. It's got an embedded chat function, which allows you to chat with other crypto traders. From the more technical standpoint, it's got automated coin recognition. So it's got a much more quicker way to build your portfolio instead of manually adding each coin. It actually uses a range of APIs in the industry to pull your coins and balances. And very excitingly, so it actually has a coin match engine. So you may have heard of something known as dark pools, the dark pool subsector in the industry where you have large over-the-counter trades, OTC trades happening between bigger whales that are not seen on the exchange, right? They happen peer-to-peer, excuse me, and they don't influence the price of the asset, which is important because in today's day and age, someone wanted to sell SXDT, you get a little bit of a Lehman moment, right? Even if someone is dumping 20K SXDT, it hits the price. So these dark pools are forming because of this. But another reason is the exchanges are in a state of disarray, right? There's very few exchanges one can really bank on. So the development of this dark pools market is very systemically significant for the industry for a range of reasons. And we want to tap that. But we want to tap that not in a direct way at first. We want to take a more wait and see approach. So what CoinMatch does is it actually understands which coins you own. It understands which coins you want to sell and which ones you want to buy, right? It asks you that when you first auto add them. Then it effectively matches you with other traders who want to sell or buy that specific coin at that quantity or near that quantity. And then you take it forward. The key with Moonfolio is it'll have certain guidelines in place where you need to transact at a 5% discount or better versus market price. Okay, so that it has an edge, so that people around the world can see, okay, in Moonfolio, I can actually go there. Yeah, maybe liquidity is low, but I might find actually a fantastic deal, right? And that's what we're trying to offer here. Phase 1 will be just a matching engine, no transactions, but phase 2 will be a regulated system with smart contracts where we would act as an escrow as well. So these are some of the dApps that are in development. And if you draw a ring around it, if this is the ecosystem, you have Dapverse, you have obviously the U token, SXUT, which unlocks a range of privileges in all these dApps, including Spectre. All of them feed into the DALP, and algorithmically that feeds in as rewards to the SXDT token. Now, the key thing is, how does this all fit in? How can we all neatly package this? And the key is cassette, which is the the deposit, the fiat deposit and conversion mechanism, which we originally are planning to develop for Spectre. But what we want to do is we want to build it actually for Dapverse in general. So with Cassette, you can come to the platform within minutes, get KYC'd after you've swiped your credit card, deposited money. You've gotten KYC'd, you have your 2FA, two-factor authentication login PIN issued, and you get a username and your credentials. And using SSN, single sign-on, you can actually sign on to all the dApps in the Dapverse, including Spectre. You don't need to have different accounts for different things, right? And that's what will make the onboarding process for this giant ecosystem that we are building this year possible. And dare I say, immensely scalable, immensely scalable, right? So on this note, I will hand this over to Hitesh, and he's going to go through some of the beta test results in detail and talk a little bit more about marketing. And I'll also open up the floor to Atul, and then we will end it after Q&A. Just give me one moment. It's very good to see. This is the first time in GoToWebinar that I've received a warning saying that there's not enough room in the webinar. More people wanted to attend, but they couldn't. That's very good to see. Just going to unmute. Hitesh, I've unmuted you. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. Let me just unmute Atul as well.
And if you could also right-click and make us both organizers, that way we can see the questions and address any of the things that anyone has a question about.
Yeah, sure. 1 second.
You've unmuted me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi, how is it going, Atul?
Oh, okay. Good. Very good.
Do I make you a panelist or organizer, Hitesh?
Organizer, please.
Okay. Pulling a QK on me, are you? 1 second. And Hitesh. Atul, you should receive the message. Okay. Hitesh, you're organizer now.
Alrighty. Okay. So, okay, is there anything else you want to add, or should I just go ahead?
No, take it from here. I'll be mute.
All right. Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. So, obviously, I'm assuming everybody is just as excited as I am about everything that's happening with Dapverse. Obviously, Kay and I talk about all that stuff a lot. There's a lot of exciting overlaps, like we mentioned, between the overall audience of both Spectre as well as many other things that we are doing in Dapverse. So as I'm focusing on growing Spectre, one of the key things that I'm keeping in mind is that we're also growing all of these other things simultaneously. So for us to do a really good job of growing and hitting all of our targets, or at least, or maybe exceeding our targets, is very, very important. And the first 1 month of testing that we did actually seems to be indicative that we are headed in the right direction. So let me just walk you guys through some of the basic numbers of what happened, and then we'll kind of unpack that and walk through what that means for us. So in the first month, as you know, we restricted the platform to 100 users. Out of the 100 users, 35 became active traders. Now, this is very much the industry standard. It's actually a little higher than industry standard, which we would expect, given this is the first batch of users. I anticipate this will kind of go down over time. So we saw a roughly 35% conversion from users to active traders. And industry average in the trading space is somewhere around 20%, 20 to 25. So out of every 100 users that we bring to the platform, we anticipate between 20 to 25% will become active traders. Now, those active traders generated a volume of just over 230 Ether. Okay, so that's approximately, given the conversion rate at the time, $5,000 per trader generated in that first month. Now, again, this is probably slightly on the higher side compared to what we will see over time, given that this was a very excited batch of users. This is the group of users who really wanted to test the system out, work with it. So because of that, that's probably a little bit higher than what we would anticipate over time. But nonetheless, this represents a very, very good thing for us because that's much higher than what we anticipated, much higher than what we have actually used in all our calculations so far. This basically works out to between $230 to $380 per day per trader, which if you look at our forecast sheets and such, it exceeds that at the moment, which again, like I said, is anticipated given this was the first batch of users. Now, we did run a trading contest, and that trading contest was received extremely well. We had a $5,000 award for the trader who generated the most volume, and that is Sehan Witanachi from Australia, who will actually be receiving a $5,000 reward for the trading volume that he generated over this time period. It was roughly 80 Ether that he traded on the platform, and we anticipate there'll be many others like him as well. Now, let's see what that actually means for us. What does that mean for all of the SXDT holders? What does that mean for DALP overall? So over this first month of beta testing, the DAP grew by 12 Ether, okay, a little over 12 Ether. And the direct dividend payments that were generated during this time from the trading itself, 6.4 ETH. So it is, again, very well in track with exactly what we had laid out in our forecasts. So far, it's exceeding what we laid out in the forecasts. But again, just a word of caution, that's expected given the first batch. It's probably the most enthusiastic batch that we're going to get. Obviously, the DALP also had the one-off dividend of the $250,000 payment, which I want everybody to be aware that is not from the first month of trading. That was generated through some market situations that happened that presented themselves. We were able to benefit from that, and that will not be repeated unless something similar happens again. But for now, the numbers that we want to really focus on are the DAP growth of 12.1 and the direct dividend payments of 6.4. Okay, so again, overall, everything is looking quite good for us at the moment. Now, what we're going to be doing moving forward, starting today, basically, is we're opening up to all traders. There are no more restrictions. We're not limiting it to a fixed number of traders. However, we do have some jurisdictional restrictions. We have 3 jurisdictions that we are currently not accepting traders from, which is Cuba, US, and UK. We anticipate as we get some additional licensing, UK will be opened up over the next couple of months, about 75 days or so. We should have UK open as well. Our growth of users and what we are working towards right now is really, we see basically 3 obstacles right now to how rapidly we can grow our user base. The first is our KYC process, the necessity to simplify that. Like Kay mentioned, we're already working on that. We anticipate that will be simplified quite a bit. The second is our inroad into the fiat market, the people out there who are currently using fiat to trade on different platforms. That will happen with Cassette. Again, you guys can refer to the chart that, the graph that Kay showed right in the beginning. As that all happens, our market reach kind of opens up by itself. We'll be able to reach a lot more users. We'll see higher conversion rates and so on. And finally, a big portion of us being able to get out in the market is our full-on affiliate and IB model. Now, this is going to be more or less the strongest affiliate model that exists in this space. There are some very, very exciting benefits that we offer that pretty much no other broker system even offers right now. And obviously, being brokerless, we are already a step ahead of them. Those are some of the things that Atul will cover here in a few minutes. But one thing that we are starting to do as we finish all of these things up, as we finish the affiliate model and so on, our first multi-channel marketing system that we're going to release here over the next 2 to 3 months is going to be reaching out to a little over 100,000 traders. Now, if we break down those numbers, we expect something around a 15% conversion from those 100,000 that we reach out to into our platform. Okay, and like I said, we would expect of those 15%, 20% to become active traders. And that's actually very much in line with the numbers that we laid out, that we would reach right about 3,000 traders in the first year. That's basically where that number comes from. Our multi-channel marketing will reach a little over 100,000 traders. We're actually in talks right now with multiple communities of traders, with groups of traders, and signal groups where people are sharing signals with each other. We're speaking with a lot of them right now. We're speaking with broker reviewers and so on. Everybody so far is very much on board with Spectre. Everybody loves this use case of the blockchain, which, in my opinion, is probably the best use case that currently exists out there and is actually live, right? There's a lot of ideas out there that maybe in 2028 we will have something that will happen with the blockchain. But to be fair, DALP and Spectre is really the only actual active use case for the blockchain right now that the average person can participate in. That is disrupting a very, very large industry. So everybody is very excited to be a part of this. Everybody wants to come on board. And we are seeing that excitement really strongly being emulated in our affiliate group, the users who want to refer new traders to our platform. And we anticipate that can be a very, very large source of growth for us. And that's the part that I'm going to have Atul talk a little bit about, because he's the one who's been kind of spearheading our affiliate outreach, especially in Asia, Africa, and some of the other high growth target areas for us. So Atul, if you want to come on and maybe share a little bit about the things that we are doing with the affiliate side of things, and some of the really exciting features that we've built into it, like instant withdrawals and so on, I think everybody will be pretty excited about it. So take it away.
Cheers. Thanks, Hitesh. Can you hear me okay? Hello?
Yep, I hear you perfectly.
We can hear you just fine.
Okay. Okay, good stuff, good stuff. Okay, so yes, so just to touch on, based on what Hitesh and Kay said, guys, just high-level feedback in terms of the affiliates and, what we've been doing up to date so far. We are in discussions with a lot of different IB communities, in particular in Indonesia, in Southeast Asia, and also, as Hitesh mentioned, some big signal providers. There was we had a master IB which done an introductory seminar on the weekend just past in Nigeria, and he's going to be introducing Spectre to large FX and binary options trading communities in Nigeria and also in Africa, and he'll basically be doing a lot of educational seminars on the Spectre platform and the affiliate model. The seminar that was done on the weekend, it was mainly focused on and targeted towards the blockchain and crypto trading communities in Nigeria. And again, the feedback was very positive. There's a real thirst, excuse me, for more information about our platform. And, with all the broker fraud which has taken place over the last few years, we can sense the market really needs the Spectre platform, and the interest levels are very high. So overall, the pipeline of deal flow is looking, excuse me, very healthy, and it's building up every week. There's IB, some regional reps, and a couple of signal providers which are really ready to start marketing and recruiting traders and sub-affiliates as soon as our affiliate portal is basically ready. So the high-level feedback that we get in, or that I'm getting from a lot of the IBs and trading communities is very positive. With the ESMA ban, which has come into play recently in Europe, it's really leaving a lot of binary option traders and trading communities that are basically scrambling, looking for new safe homes to trade with. So again, the Spectre platform, amongst these communities and the concept of what we're doing is warmly received. There's a lot of excitement, with these potential partners, and that excitement, I believe, is going to build up over time once we sort of, go full on with the marketing and what we've got mapped out. So I think the timing is very good in terms of us coming into the market, especially at this time. There are obviously a couple of other players or competitors which are starting to enter our space, but we certainly are the pioneers, as Hitesh mentioned. All, if not all the other players which are coming in doesn't actually have a working product yet. So we've obviously got first mover advantage, and rest assured we will definitely be capitalizing on that and taking full advantage of that. So just coming back to the affiliate model, we've basically finalized what the structure is, etc., and we're going to be doing excuse me, three levels. One will be an affiliate level. That's our entry level, and that's someone they don't have to have much experience in trading or meet clients in person. All they need is a high traffic blog website or a big number of social media followers. And then the second level that we're going to have is the master affiliate, and this is someone who will be recruiting direct retail traders and also sub-affiliates to the platform. And on top of that, our top tier will have what's called a regional rep. And this is suitable for an experienced partner who's been in the binary options and the FX markets for a long time in their given region, and has also got an active, growing client base of retail traders and introducers. And their marketing activity will be both online and offline. The white label solution that will be available at a later stage this year. And on all three levels, the partners, they can be an individual or a corporate. The actual affiliate partner program, it's really designed to compensate our affiliates purely on trade volume, and that's going to be coupled with really aggressive bonus incentives. As Hitesh mentioned earlier, majority of our client acquisition strategy and trade volume, it's going to really be driven through our partners on all three of those levels. So the three ways that we're going to compensate our partners: one will be a base commission, which we pay them 50% of Spectre's fee on every trade. And the second way we going to compensate or pay our partners is we're going to be running a 90-day challenge. And the commercial and marketing logic behind this is really to motivate our partners to take immediate action and to be performing at their best at all times. So what will happen is every 90 days, starting the day that they join, they can hit certain volume targets and receive 90-day bonuses, which will, when combined with their base commissions, can really bring their total earnings up to about 100% of the Spectre fee. And the third way that we'll be compensating them is we'll also have one-off milestone bonuses. So as they as their trading volume grows, they will receive additional rewards every single step of the way. So the earning potential for the partners on all three levels can become very lucrative. And we also have a neat affiliate earnings calculator on our website, which can act as a guide for potential new affiliates to sort of get a glimpse of what they can potentially be earning. In terms of the portal, just to give you guys a status update on that. So we're currently finalizing the affiliate portal with all the landing pages, affiliate sign-up links, and marketing assets. And this we're targeting to be ready late this month, I think around about the 15th or the 16th. And because the portal is basically in-house built, we will be optimizing and enhancing and also improving as we build out this market and as we progress forward. We want to make sure that we're giving our partners all the necessary marketing tools, the resources, and the educational material, so that they can really optimize the signups, the conversions, and that will of course have a direct impact on the trade volume. A very important thing to remember, I think, is we're going to be it's going to be an educational process to get our message out to the masses. So it's very important from our perspective, really to make sure that all of our partners that's on the front line, that they fully equipped. So in addition to that, just a couple of other updates. We've localized the website and the trading platform. So we're going to kickstart with, I think it's about 5 to 6 languages. And once we go live with the affiliate portal, the onboarding process for the new affiliates is going to be very fast. It's going to be seamless and really hassle-free. For the affiliates that wants to apply for a master affiliate, they will do that directly inside the affiliate portal. And once we receive the application, we simply do some profiling, and then we basically approve the account. So moving forward, we're going to be pretty active in the coming months. As Kay touched on, it is going to be a gradual process in terms of scaling up. But some of the key areas that we're going to focus on in order to help us scale faster is we'll obviously be looking at optimizing and enhancing the trader sign-up process and KYC, which Kay and Hitesh has also touched on before. But really what we want to do is we want to get to a point where it's extremely intuitive, it's fast, and it's really hassle-free. We'll also be looking to add more features and tools and marketing assets inside the actual affiliate portal. And we're also going to be looking at another key area, which is very important, to the pace that we scale up, is look to expand upon our customer support team in regards to multilingual, and also look to improve on our live chat response times and the times it takes for us to resolve support tickets. We really want to look to bring these times down to a minimum. And what we will be doing is always looking at ways how we can sort of improve and optimize that particular process. So, with that said, we're certainly excited in us. The doors is going to be opening pretty soon to really take Spectre to the world. And, the time to disrupt and dominate and to blaze the trail it's basically right here. So, with that being said, I'll hand it back to yourself, Hitesh, and kind of take things forward from there.
Well, thank you very much, Atul. I'm sure everybody appreciated that very in-depth and, again, very exciting update on where we are headed. We would like to open up for some Q&A now, since we have covered pretty much everything that we have as an update from our side. Just to address this one question that's in here. So the affiliate links that you guys received, or the referral links rather, during the time of ICO are not the same as affiliate links for the Spectre.ai platform. Those are completely different things. Those were essentially referral links during the ICO for the bounty program from then. Those are not applicable to the Spectre.ai token, Spectre.ai platform going forward. So we will be issuing and releasing the new affiliate portal for the trading platform, and that will have its own affiliate links, which you'll be able to use then. So that's the one question that came up in relation to the affiliate side. So Kay, please take it away.
Yep. Thanks for that, Hitesh and Atul. So we've done pretty good on time. We're around 40 minutes in to the hour. Let's take some Q&A for the next 10 minutes, and then we can call it quits at the top of the hour. Okay, I see a question from John Cantlon. Will there be a Spectre app? There most definitely will be a Spectre app, and it will resemble the Spectre UI I showed earlier, optimized for Android and iOS devices. We have yet to receive a quote on that. If you recall, it was the community that voted to go ahead and spend a certain amount of money to build this UI. We'll be holding another vote. That same team is going to be sending through the quote soon. All right. Thank you, Dan, for your kind feedback on that. Hitesh answered BTC Macron's questions, I think, about the affiliate links. Isn't that right, Hitesh?
Yep, that's the question I just answered.
Okay. Good question from Steve Martin. What happened to the charity option and dividend? So what we have done is we looked at the logistics of having that feature. And there was a bit of a technical issue that could happen in a few months after the deadline had passed. And so because we saw that, we thought we'd just scrap it for now. We just let the dividends accumulate infinitely. We, of course, urge people to withdraw dividends that have been KYC'd at least once a year, just because you don't want the smart contract that holds them to get too fat unnecessarily. and it's good practice. But again, you don't have to. You can let it accrue over time. That's not a problem. One thing also to note, one thing in favor of withdrawing dividends is banking them. What I mean by that is converting the ETH to dollars, um, just so you can actually do something with them. Because right now you can't really use ETH to pay for your local costs in your country. So, hedging that FX risk is important. But after that, it is what it is. Regarding charity, so we're starting Spectre Rare Diseases Research. It's a vehicle. Um, it's a personal vehicle of mine. By vehicle, I don't mean a car. It's a company where I'm advisor to certain projects. I'll be donating tokens from that into there, and we'll be helping on a case by case people that are afflicted with incurable diseases, terminal diseases, to receive palliative care, if not actual medical care. So you're more than welcome to donate to that if you like. I see a question from Faraz Ali. Do you have any material to market on social media? We do have a lot of material. Hitesh, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. So, like I was just saying, we do have a lot of material for it, and we're actually preparing a lot more material as well, which will actually be available in the affiliate area. When we release this affiliate area, which will be within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll actually announce it. You'll all receive an email. If you've already registered as an affiliate, if you're registered for it, you'll receive a link in the email as well. But essentially, you log into this affiliate program. In the affiliate portal, you will see a section named marketing assets. And when you go on there, you will see landing pages, banners, social media messages, advertisements that you can send out, emails, and so on. And we will also be putting together some guidelines on some things that you should not say, some things that you are allowed to say, and so on. You have to be careful about how you present some of the stuff out there, because for the sake of effectiveness, you don't want to come across as a scammer or a hype artist. And also, you want to be careful about not saying things that are actually not allowed by the law.
Yeah.
So we will be sharing all of those guidelines in the affiliate area. That's one of the reasons why we have not pushed very hard on asking our very enthusiastic community to go out there and share things about Spectre yet, because we are trying to approach this in a very careful manner. We don't want to do anything that could, reflect poorly on the Spectre brand. So all of that will be available in the affiliate portal when it goes live. And of course, it will go live, like we discussed throughout this webinar, sometime in the month of May.
Okay. Question from Marius. When will we be able to trade crypto on your platform? Marius, you can trade it now. Just go in and go ahead. It doesn't work on weekends, but you'll be able to trade all cryptocurrencies on weekends, also sometime in May, towards the end. We're basically integrating Coin API, which has better pricing on weekends than our current provider. Good question from Glenn Pittock. When do you anticipate USA users to be eligible to trade? That's a very good point. So from our perspective, we would want nothing more than to open up to a market that is pretty much 50% of the global digital options market, which is the US, tomorrow. But we can't, because the SEC has a specific stance on competition against American firms, and they also obviously want to protect the US investor. And therefore, high risk, high reward trading like this is something that they frown upon unless one invests in a very expensive CFTC license that Nadex, for example, I believe had invested in. Very roughly speaking, I think it's $10 to $15 million, but don't quote me on that. So it's an issue of cost, and we simply won't be spending that money anytime soon for that market. And so what we have to do is we have to wait until regulations, not only on the digital options and CFD trading side, become more amenable in that region, but secondly, also that the US formulates a coherent policy on blockchain and how to regulate blockchain-based trading platforms. So, that's in works. That's obviously they're working on that, and when the time is right, we will open a discussion. Realistically, 3 years. See a question from Laura Fontaine. I think this one's for you, Hitesh. She's asking, is the Spectre team attending non-crypto conferences such as VidCon in Anaheim to sell Spectre to the crypto YouTubers who educate the public?
We are not attending conferences necessarily, but we are doing exactly that. We are speaking with a lot of the YouTubers already. And again, this is all tied with the affiliate side, right? So a lot of the YouTubers, a lot of the influencers, and even websites that are big in the binary option space, and the Forex space, and so on, whenever we have spoken with them, it comes back to a very simple thing. This sounds exciting. This sounds amazing. Your project sounds great. You guys have hit everything on your roadmap so far, which is a very, very strong rarity in the ICO space. So everybody's excited about participating, but it is all tied with us getting this affiliate portal out, which was kind of predicated upon us getting all of the licensing in place. And that was also predicated upon getting this beta testing done and making sure that the platform worked well, that the bugs were addressed, which there were over 40 bugs identified during the beta test period. So yes, all of the stuff that you're mentioning, including attending conferences down the road. We actually just had a conference in Africa that was for crypto community there. So there are a lot of different things that we're already doing, but the impact of those will not be fully felt until we get the affiliate program out, until we get all the marketing assets out, and then especially once we get cassette and the simplified KYC out. That's when you'll begin to see kind of the cumulative effect of all of this taking shape. A lot of what you see in the crypto space and the cryptocurrency community right now, there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of PR, and a lot of companies do that. But we are past that stage now, right? It doesn't help us to just talk. We need to only target areas where we will actually receive genuine traders, genuine investors who will come on board, who will start trading, who will become active users of the platform. So some of our targets are shifting. It's not so much the targets that you see some companies targeting when they're doing their ICO. You're going to see us targeting places where the actual traders are, where the actual people who represent our new target audience hang out. So we'll actually share some more details on the stuff in our next quarterly update, because by that point, we would have gone past the cassette development and the simplified KYC and the affiliate marketing section. At that point, you'll be able to see a lot of these things actually playing out. We'll be able to showcase some of the things that we've done and the effects that we're seeing of that.
Hope that answers your question, Laura. I see a question from Nicholas. When fish and chips? Very soon, Nicholas. Thank you for that question. Good question from Chris Beck. He's asking, are U.S. citizens allowed to use dApps? They are. However, in non-money mode. So they can trade, play all these games, all that, as long as there's no financials involved. Because the US is also anti betting and gambling. That was I think, Hitesh, you're probably more on top of this 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even longer. There was some cataclysmic change in the US gaming and gambling market, right?
Yep, that was actually much before that. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was October of 2006.
My bad.
If I remember right, when the first one happened, where they essentially said that any website that offered gaming services, they could not use an offshore license anymore. It was something to that effect, but it basically wiped out about 80 to 85% of all casino websites, sport betting websites that were targeting US members. They all kind of got taken out. So there's been subsequent things like that, but obviously the effect has never been quite as big because the market shrunk. On the flip side, it has kind of created monopolies for the few players who are there, right? So if you can get the licensing through and all that stuff, then there is a lot that can actually be done there, which is something we're actively exploring right now. There's actually something that we've been working on in the background, and then Kay and I are going to discuss actually right after this webinar that might be a way for us to be able to reach out to the US market much sooner than maybe the 3-year timeline.
Yeah. Okay. I see a question from Keith Sampson. Did you say 70 days for UK traders? Yeah, Keith, so it's a range. It could happen next week. It could happen up to 70 days. Essentially, it's additional licensing. To give you a background, we're currently licensed under Costa Rica. It's a more flexible license, so it covers Spectre.ai, but it also covers the dAppverse, which is awesome for us. We don't need separate licenses for that. The downside is that there are few more restricted regions, none of which matter to us apart from the UK, which is possibly maybe under 1%, 1 or 2% for long-term growth. I mean, it's a very small market for us. So what we're basically doing is we're getting an additional license which covers our exchange, which is going to be coming out in a few months, and we can bring that under that umbrella, and also Spectre, if that makes sense. So we can then offer it to UK. So a really funny question from Dan Pierce. Dan, thanks for the feedback. Dan is asking, is it possible to short IQ option? I don't know if IQ option is a listed entity. We really do, but yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't know if they trade on the secondary market. But look, credit to them. We have to give credit where it's due. They did a fantastic job as a broker in the centralized world. And now we look forward to taking them head on. Okay, Glenn Pittock is asking, will we be able to view candlesticks on the new UI? Yes, Glenn. I know that was quite a disturbing screenshot for any traders out there because you saw those obligatory, horrendous volume charts, if you want to call it, or landscape charts. No, you will be, of course, able to trade with candlesticks as well. I see a question from Maria Telder. Will dividend SXDT be sent automatic to wallet? Not now, Maria. In phase 2 of this project, we will make it auto beam after KYC. Right now, you need to register on the in the rewards portal, and you need to get KYC'd. It's pretty stringent KYC as well. Currently, our KYC fail rate is 17%. So almost 2 out of 10 people, their KYC fails for a range of reasons. 8 out of 10 pass. So you need to get that, and then you can pull them to your wallet. See a question from Neil Johnson. With competitors looking over our fence, how do you intend to strike the balance regarding keeping us informed without compromising our strategy? This is such a great question. So I want to take this opportunity to make this pretty clear. We love these calls. We love kind of talking about the product and stuff, but ultimately the time has come to deliver the numbers. That's ultimately all that matters, right? All of this here is show so far. It needs to be translated into numbers. And as long as we're delivering the numbers, we would expect and almost encourage our token holders to understand that there's just no point in having strategic calls where we get in knee deep into strategy. It really helps nobody apart from maybe a few hundred token holders being able to sleep better at night. Ultimately, it's about the greater good of the project. It's about preserving our long-term IP, our strategic rope-a-dope tactics that we're playing in the competitive marketplace, which we have played very well so far, by the way. Many things happen behind the scenes that happen for a reason. Just to give you one example, there's a reason why 2 of our competitors right now have only been able to raise 4 million, and why we raised a sum in a different league to that last year, right? And there's a lot of things happening that we need to do. So in answer to your question, the answer is that balance is going to be increasingly favored more towards text-based, 3-liners, the type of stuff listed companies put out, press releases. Of course, there's an annual conference where you can meet the management team, annual shareholders meeting. And yes, there will be quarterly conference calls. But as time goes by, especially once our patents start getting granted and the platform starts to scale up, the last thing we want to do is showboating our volumes this week or showboating how many traders we have, etc. There's just no need. Ultimately, it's about the token price trajectory, which is ultimately a function of how well our platform is doing. See a question from Christopher Ross. Now that we have a better understanding of the power of the DALP and that Spectre trading platform will be a DApp, will you consider a rebrand of the company? This is a great question. This is interesting. This question came up right now because this actually goes very, very hand in hand with what I just said to Neil, what I just answered to his question. I can tell you, won't be rebranding Spectre. We think Spectre is a fantastic brand. In fact, we received a big pushback in a poll we had held saying that no, we want this name, and so we have the trademark for it as well. But what I will say, and Hitesh, I don't know if you agree or disagree. at its full potential, or even at, let's say, 20% realized potential, 30% potential, the sheer magnitude of opportunity in Dapverse just dwarfs Spectre.
Sorry, I had myself muted. Um, I more than agree. In fact, I mean, if you don't mind me saying this, one of the things that Kay and we've had many discussions, and I have a lot of contacts in the gaming space, especially in the Blizzard Activision community. I used to live like 2 miles from them. I think definitely what Dapverse can do will eventually dwarf Spectre. Not because Spectre is going to be so small, but there's just no competing with that. I don't know if you guys, if any of you have any interest in even reading the financial disclosures, the quarterly disclosures that are filed by some of these major companies. If you look at the latest one by Activision, for example, they actually have more hourly viewers now on esports than the entire NFL and the NBA combined. So it just cannot be compared anymore going forward. It's not even something in the future that will take over. It has already taken over in terms of size. The gaming market in itself has taken over everything else. Now you add in things like Moonwire and some of the other things that Kay discussed before. Yes, absolutely. Spectre has the in the future, Spectre, with as much potential as it has, will probably end up being one of the apps in Dapverse rather than being the primary,
Yeah.
the main source of everything. That's
And
just the way things are going to shape up eventually.
yeah, and in answer, and in sort of a small addendum to that, not to kind of make this too long-winded, Dapverse is a separate brand. We've filed a trademark for that as well. The most important thing to note is that the common connecting point or umbilical cord will be obviously SXDT. That is the most important thing, right? And that's all that ultimately matters to token holders. SXDT and of course SXUT in terms of unlocking the various ecosystem functionalities, right? But in terms of rebrands and in terms of divestitures and all these things or spin-offs and all, that's something that is potentially in the long-term strategy. But the most important thing, and I've said this very often in my version of Twitter, which is Telegram, where I spend far too much time on, is that we will not do anything that is seismic in nature without the full buy-in of the token holder community, right? Like that's the way it works. So anything we do has to be massively value accretive to SXDT and SXUT. That's as simple as that. But unfortunately, the way things are headed, yeah, we are looking at transformational impact that Dapverse can have if executed correctly. So Spectre.ai, I think has significant potential. I think there's a bit of buffer in our forecast, if I may say that as well, especially towards the out months or the out quarters of this financial year. Mainly because the entire digital options industry is reeling. There are a lot of, especially after ESMA. But as Hitesh said, given our networks and given where things are going, I would be surprised if we didn't see that sort of flippening, if you want to call it. Okay, see a question from Faraz Ali. Perfect. And do you offer any CPA to bring traders to Spectre? Hitesh, I think that one's for you, or Atul.
Sure. Actually, Atul, if you don't mind taking that one, I mean, I don't mind answering, but I want Atul to give his take on this as well.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I just had to mute myself. No, so the answer to that is no, we do not offer any CPA. We had lengthy discussions, Kay, Hitesh, and myself, before we finalized the current program, and we decided to go with the rev share model, just based on our own earning model. And also, Kay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the EU they were changing or they were looking to potentially change the compliance regime around brokers paying CPA to affiliates. So, short answer is no, we do not accept any CPA. We do not offer any CPA. Sorry. Just in addition to that as well, really from a revenue perspective, in terms of doing a rev share, I mean, it's more long-term committed IBs and affiliates that we're going to be getting coming into that model versus the CPA. A lot of the CPA programs and brokers which are offering CPA, and in my own experience in previous work environments, a lot of that type of compensation model, the brokers used to get a lot of abusers coming on to the affiliate program. So that, coupled with the outlook in terms of the regulatory environment in the EU, we decided to just stick to the revenue share model. Maybe you wanted to add something on that, Kai or Hitesh,
yeah.
but
yeah, no, that's absolutely right. I do want to add two more things to this that I want to speak from an affiliate's perspective a little bit. First of all, let's understand why a CPA program was offered. A CPA program is offered by centralized brokers primarily because their primary source of income is through the losses of a trader. And that's where you get the fraud. That's where you get the heavy sales tactics. That's where you get the manipulation of the market pricing. All of those things happen because the broker looks at it as follows. The broker says, okay, we're going to pay $300 to the affiliate to bring us a trader who's going to deposit $2,000. And now we have to make sure that we make this guy lose at least $1,000 to $1,500. That's basically the angle, okay? And I'm being very frank about this because I think most of you are aware that those are the kind of things that have happened. Now, nobody likes it. The trader doesn't like it. The affiliate doesn't like it. And majority of the brokers don't like doing that either, right? And that's just what they do to survive. That's the reality of it. Now, what we are doing here is very, very different. Okay, remember that in our case, an affiliate does not make money only if their referred users are losing money, right? It's a totally different model. The SXTT, the holder is winning, right? The token holders are receiving money every time there's a trade that occurs, regardless of the outcome. The affiliate is going to be getting paid regardless of the outcome, which does not actually happen in any other broker. Okay, so because it doesn't happen in any other broker, we have a very, very significant benefit, and why a lot of these affiliates are very excited to work with us to begin with. Then there's another point. If you look at the LTVs are lifetime value of a client. The CPA programs that were offered largely are offered as follows. They look at the average LTV. They say, you know what, we're going to make $700 over the lifetime from this one trader. We will pay the affiliate $300 and we will make $400 extra over time. What Spectre is doing is a completely different approach. Spectre is saying, you know what, we are going to be completely transparent about it. Since we are going to be generating a profit on each trade, we will simply share that with the affiliate as it happens. So actually, the affiliate is going to also earn significantly more going with this model than they would with the standard CPA model, because they're actually going to continue earning over time. And finally, the reason is because of logistics. A lot of the brokers out there do not want to deal with the logistics of tracking the trading activity of every single user in their platform, find the right affiliate, and reward that affiliate in a proportional manner that makes sense. So they say, you know what, let's just come up with a safe CPA number, we will pay them that. In our case, what we're doing, because everything is on the blockchain, because everything is so transparent, and by nature, it's all tracked, what we're doing is, hey, every time a trade occurs, we simply take a portion out for the dividend, and we also take a portion out for the affiliate, and we split it instantly. It actually goes across the blockchain into all the wallets right away. The affiliate can actually withdraw that money as it is happening in real time. That's completely different from anything that has ever happened in the trading space before. So we don't need to resort to things like the standard CPA models and so on. In fact, every affiliate that I've spoken with, when they've actually seen the affiliate program and the details of it that we have presented to them, they've all come away very impressed, saying we're going to earn a lot more, there's no conflict of interest, and we're a lot more excited because we're actually looking out for our traders. We're not trying to rob them blind. We're actually going to benefit when they are succeeding in their trading as well. So it's a completely different perspective on how to approach the space. And that's part of the reason why I feel a lot of the affiliates who are in other spaces, not just because of the regulation, not just because of what's happening with ESMA and such, but just because of the purely significantly better moral outlook when it approaches their user base, they're going to be a lot more excited sending them to Spectre than to any other broker, because they know they're not counting on their traders losing money for them to benefit. So those are all the reasons why We went with the approach that we absolutely do not want to go the CPA route. We don't need the CPA route. We don't have to deal with the fraud in that space. And the affiliates now actually have significantly higher trust with us than they would in a standard CPA model. So hope that's the very long answer for why we didn't go with the CPA.
Thanks, Hitesh and Atul. It's perfect. A follow from Steve. Did you say the KYC procedure will be streamlined? Yes, it will. See a question from Nicholas Sadko. Will every single person visiting the Dapverse and Terra be required to hold SXUT tokens in order to participate in using of the dApps and or the betting site? As with Spectre.ai, you're not required to use it because that would almost be undemocratic. There's no sort of value-based reason for that, but it would dramatically improve your odds of success in the ecosystem if you hold SXUT, just like the privileges unlock. Okay, good question from Alvaro. Are there any plans for a Spectre Dapverse debit card? So after converting ETH to USD, we can spend it locally or withdrawal. Hitesh, maybe because given your close ties with Uphold, do you know if they have any plans for such cards? Since Cassette, when it is engineered, will be integrating with a company like that.
Yes, they actually do have plans of it. We have discussed that already, and they will be able to give us more specific timelines after the summer. Actually, is what they told me, their general timeline. And regardless if they choose not to go with that, there are many third-party solutions for that as well. It's just not something that's very high on our priority list right now, given everything that's going on. But yes, we have both the routes available. Uphold will likely have one. And in absence of that, we also have some third-party companies that I've worked with in the past for other companies that we will be able to adopt if we need to.
But as Hitesh said, I mean, it's a very low priority.
Yeah.
Okay, I see a KYC question here from Nathan. I am an Australian citizen and registered for KYC, but was looking to move to Vanuatu as an option in a few years. How would this affect me, or once I've passed KYC as an Australian, it won't be a problem? You would need to write to legal at Spectre.ai. I wouldn't be able to give you a coherent response on this, as it's a slightly more complex situation. Sorry about that. See a question from Andres Teen. Any plans for an SXUT token rental program? There are no plans for that at the moment, Andres. It's a fair question because if we implement our plans and we even hit just 20% of our targets long term for both Dapverse and Spectre, SXUT will come under strict supply side shortages, one can argue. So the renting angle for SXUT does make sense, but it's not something that we've explored in depth, so there's no plans for it now. Question from Cloud N. Can Spectre partner with an existing US-based entity that already has licenses, or is not so as simple as that? I wouldn't want to venture a guess at this stage, but Hitesh, can we speak loosely about it, or is that also legally not wise?
No, I don't think it's something that we should be discussing right now, guys. One of the problems is whatever we say right now is all going to be conjecture and speculation, right? And let's leave the speculation for Spectre. If you want to do that, go trade on there and make money doing speculation. But for us to be discussing that stuff on here until we have something concrete is really everybody's waste of time, and then it just breeds rumors that can actually sabotage some of the things that we are trying to do.
Yeah, it's a fair point. So for now, assume no. Okay, I see a question from Maureen. Can you speak about crypto cases and crypto games? Yes. So here's the thing. It's a good segue from what Hitesh just said. I would love to give you more color on crypto cases, given that it is addressing a multi-billion-dollar market within the games industry, which itself is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Game cases are very popular. There are a few market leaders in the space. They are all very unorganized in their setup, in their tech. but a lot of gamers congregate there because of emotional attachments over the years to the owners. And that's a very disruptive industry, especially with the product class that we want to bring to crypto. It's a very unique angle that we're taking on the skins industry and the skins cases industry. And I wouldn't want to talk more about that on this webinar, mainly because I'd like to show you what it is in a few months from now when our two project leads make it ready so I can give you some screenshots and tell you what it is. But it's a very exciting market. It caters to a different demographic in terms of the average age of the person there is probably 18 or 20, maybe in that range. But it's equally very lucrative, especially if you bring decentralization to it. So I won't be able to give too much color on that. On the actual games, yeah. So I spoke at length on Crypto Run how it's not just a runner game where you collect coins and try not to die and you try to finish. It's that, but you complete a range of challenges which keep getting updated. That's the beauty, right? So you can play the same level. There are in total 15 levels. You can play these levels, but with different objectives. And each time you complete an objective, you get a 20% payout or 40% payout. Or if it's a really tough objective, you get 200% ROI on the capital that you wagered, right? And it's all powered by the DALP. So this is one game, but we're also currently creating the first crypto pool game. So for those of you that know Mini Clip Pool, that cute little game you play online. It's the first billiards game, but it has a twist. It's all cryptocurrency themed, and of course it's DALPed, so you can play for real money. That's where things get really fun. And we are working with a studio now that we'll be partnering up with, that will be with us over this coming year, releasing around 20 games, all of which would be featured on Dapverse and would integrate with the DALP. And that, I think, is a good segue into Tom's question. Tom is saying, hello, the info and skin game exchange is new for me. Can you explain it a bit more? What is your target? Yeah, so everything I said right now, just to be very clear, we're not creating a skins exchange. That would be stupid of us. That's a crowded market right now. It's maybe I won't say as crowded, but it's pretty crowded in terms of how many blockchain companies want to take on wax and do all those things. That's not what we're doing. We're actually hitting a very lucrative subsect in there that hasn't been served that well in the centralized world. Thanks for the feedback, everyone. Okay, there's a question here for Atul. What is the status on white labeling, and what would be the barrier to entry? Now, I realize this call has gone massively over what we had planned, but I guess this always happens with Q&A, so that's okay as long as it's adding value. Atul, do you want to comment on the white labeling?
Yeah, sure. So, well, I mean, in terms of the actual commercials, what is the entry to barrier? We're still in the process of finalizing that and doing some groundwork and research, etc. But in a nutshell, it's going to be suited for existing brokers. That could be FX brokers that's looking to diverse into our platform and our what we're actually doing, and or other traditional binary option brokers that's got both an existing active client base and, of course, master IBs or regional reps, which is looking to take that next step up, and they want to create their own brand and be marketing the platform under their brand. So conceptually, we'll most probably have a setup fee and also a monthly minimum fee, which they would need to pay, and if they reach a certain amount of volume, then we would look to basically waive that monthly fee. So to answer your question, we haven't actually finalized those commercials yet, but it's definitely something that we'll be mapping out, and when we do go live, we'll have all of that information and share that with you guys as well.
Okay. Thank you, Atul. I see a question from Adderley. What is the pattern for the DALP granted? Is this a giving, or is there a chance it would not be possible to obtain it? Yeah, it's a good question. So, as we've always maintained, the granting of a blockchain patent is a contentious issue at the moment, mainly because a lot of lawyers and patent attorneys and also the patent offices don't know what blockchain is. So you have to first educate them on that, and this is a process that takes time. So I wouldn't say that the patent will be granted. It would be great if it was, but I won't be able to say yes or no either way at this stage. It's too early. I would say you can probably expect it to take longer than usual because of the learning curve. Um, we have applied for protection on various aspects of the mechanisms that we have gone over today. So, in an ideal world, if you take a look at a spectrum where towards the right you get full protection for everything, um, yeah, that probably is not going to happen. But even if we hit middle ground, if we can protect key elements on the design side of how various elements and actors within this ecosystem interact, especially using the blockchain or wallets, that can be very lucrative. Um, so, in answer to your question, yeah, there's a chance we don't get total protection. There's very small chance we don't get any protection. So, yeah, as long as we get some, that's good. Yeah, Glenn, I'm very happy to elaborate on the crypto run, but I think I must have already done that before I saw your question. But just let me know if I haven't. Okay, I see a question from Vincenzo Di Piazza. Hi, team. Great webinar. Question about 2FA. Will there be a backup code to restore the phone authenticator if for any reason Google Authenticator is erased? This is a technical question that the tech team will be very happy to answer. Just please email team@spectre.ai and we'll get back to you within 24 hours. Steve is asking, are you still looking at 80-20 split of dApps versus the platform? The answer is correct. Yes, that's right. We are. Thanks, Mark. Echo Mobong is asking, will Cassette make it possible to purchase SXUT tokens directly for traders users? Great question. So we have spoken to Uphold about the process of getting SXUT on there. They have said that let us have a discussion. At this stage, I cannot say more. That doesn't mean anything, but that would be an ideal scenario because then in theory you could just literally add those to your card. But at this stage, assume that's not the case. Good question from Greg. Any updates on accredited investors in the US being able to participate with Spectre? Yes, just note that accredited investors need to have a certain amount of wealth, and we need to be able to do that check. So it would involve certain KYC engineering, and we would need to explore that in more depth. But at this moment, no. Dan Pierce was asking, is a DAO-powered poker platform on the way or of interest? Of interest, yes, not on the way. Okay, see a question from Dylan Haas. Are you still working with Track Invest? Yes, so Atoll is in talks with their number two. We're looking to get the affiliate agreement signed and contract, and then we'll be working out. Well, the commercials already agreed, so we'll be seeing when they can start sending traffic. So we are working with them. That's certainly our intention, but we're not banking on it. Just to be clear, we have a broad-based sort of diversification strategy. Thank you, Patty, for the kind feedback. I'm not seeing any more questions. Last call for questions. If not, we will call it a day here. Okay, question. All the when Binance questions are coming in. That's good. Question from Echo Mobong. Please tell us more about Terra. What I can say about Terra at this stage is it is a it's a it's a virtual community, but it's not a game, and it's a layer. That's all I would say. It's a virtual layer that brings together everything. Okay, I see no other questions, so I wish you all a great day ahead, and we'll be recording. This is recorded, and we'll be uploading this to the channel and sharing it with the community. Talk to you all soon. Bye bye.